From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
The burst of rain in parts of Phoenix last night caused flooding and shut down Interstate 17 for several hours. We talked to transportation officials about why the cleanup took so long. Plus,
he's a man after my own heart, and so is Trump.
Republican vice presidential candidate Mike Pence visited Phoenix last night. We learned what issues Valley residents were most passionate about. And
the gentle sounds of the harp can now be heard in some local hospitals. Why some are saying the music can provide relief to patients.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Alexis Solari.
And I'm Cooper Gardner. Thanks for joining us.
It's being called a 100-year storm. Some areas of the valley saw several inches of rain in a short period of time.
Large amounts of rainfall and flooding caused the I-17 to close down at 8 p.m. last night. I talked to the Arizona Department of Transportation to find out why the flooding was out of control. Huge puddles sit in the streets of Phoenix after yesterday's flood. Steve Elliott of the Arizona Department of Transportation said 3 inches of rain fell in less than 45 minutes. The rainfall flooded the streets and freeways, but was particularly bad on the I-17.
The rain fell very, very heavily over this one location, and it's a low-lying interchange, so the water tends to collect underneath. Now we have massive pumps in these interchanges that are capable of moving large volumes of water. In this case, the amount of water was so great that it simply overwhelmed the pumps and caused the pumps to overheat and cycle down.
Elliott said the I-17 was so flooded partly because of its infrastructure, but it was mostly due to the massive amounts of rainfall that caused the pumps to slow down.
The infrastructure that's in place on I-17 is older, and we do have money in our committed in our 5-year construction program to go in and upgrade the pump systems along I-17.
Nearly half a dozen vehicles were left stranded, but there were no injuries reported. I-17 was reopened at approximately 10 p.m. after the flooding had been cleared. But tonight, be cautious. Flash flood watches are issued for much of the state. Rain is expected in the greater Phoenix area, including northwest and northwest Maricopa County, also Tonto National Forest foothills. The areas with the highest potential of seeing flash flooding include southern Gila, northern Pinal, and La Paz counties.
The number of cases of Zika in the United States is growing, and the Obama administration says money to fight the virus is running out. The Secretary of Health and Human Services says resources for vaccine development will be exhausted before the end of the month. The Obama administration is blaming Republican members of Congress, saying they need to step up and provide funding to protect from the Zika virus.
They left on a 7-week recess a day early at the height of mosquito season, and it basically told the American people, good luck. And the irony here is that the states that are at greatest risk are those states that are overwhelmingly represented in Congress by Republicans.
The White House secretary could be hinting at Arizona. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the Southwest is particularly vulnerable for Zika. Southern Arizona faces a higher risk than much of the country.
Trump supporters made their way to the Phoenix Convention Center last night for their chance to hear Republican vice presidential candidate Mike Pence speak at a town hall. Cronkite News reporter Joey Carrera covered the event and joins us now. Joey, what did you take away from being at the town hall last night?
Well, hours before the town hall even started, hundreds of Trump fans lined up in hats, shirts, and socks for a chance to see Mike Pence live. Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio, former Governor Jan Brewer, and Arizona Republican Party Chairman Robert Graham all spoke ahead of Pence last night. Backing Trump, destroying ISIS, and helping veterans were among the many issues discussed at the town hall. More than 900 were in the crowd at the Phoenix Convention Center chanting, "Build that wall, lock her up, and USA." They cheered as longtime Trump backer Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio took the stage.
And you notice I didn't say that I will support the nominee for president. I didn't say I would support Donald Trump for president.
Party leaders said that the principles and values of the Republican Party need to be present in local and national government.
I think that Donald Trump and Mike Pence are almost unstoppable, but they need to have a partner in the United States Senate who's going to be able to bring the legislation forward to make America great again.
Before the town hall yesterday, the Arizona Democratic Party hosted a rally for veterans. Many there spoke out against Donald Trump's exchange of words with the parents of a Muslim captain killed in action. They called his remarks disrespectful to those who serve our country. But veterans at the Pence town hall believe Trump is a guiding force.
If you want to support Hillary to the detriment of the country, that's your opinion and that's your right. But we want things right. That's why I'm supporting Trump. I think that he'll straighten out the mess that is the Veterans Administration that has been left to the dogs, so to speak, with the Obama administration.
An audience member voiced his opinion about the Republican presidential candidate, and the attendees didn't take it well. The man was removed from the convention center. Pence ended the town hall and made an appearance on the floor to sign autographs and snap photos. Recent polls in Arizona have mixed results on the presidential election. One shows Trump in the lead, another shows Hillary Clinton. Joey Carrera, Cronkite News.
The total amount of campaign money raised for the month of July is in, and it shows that Donald Trump is drawing closer to the monthly haul raised by rival Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump's campaign says it raised $80 million in July to support his bid and the Republican Party. Clinton's total monthly fundraising came in at about $90 million. The Trump campaign says of their $80 million, $64 million was raised through digital and direct mail operations. Trump also contributed $2 million of his own to the campaign in July.
A spokeswoman for Donald Trump is blaming Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton for the 2004 killing of U.S. Army Captain Humayun Khan in Iraq. This comes amidst the public fight between Trump and Khan's parents after Khan's father criticized the Republican candidate at last week's Democratic National Convention. Spokeswoman Katrina Pearson was on CNN yesterday.
It was under Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton that changed the rules of engagements that probably cost his life.
At the time, Barack Obama was a state senator in Illinois and Hillary Clinton was a senator representing New York. Pearson said this morning she was talking about Clinton voting specifically for the war back in 2002.
Khizr Khan, father of the Army Captain Humayun Khan, who was killed in Iraq in 2004, took to the stage of the Democratic National Convention to criticize Donald Trump. Trump fired back with a stream of tweets and comments that sparked a controversy that left some Muslim organizations at odds. Cronkite News Washington reporter Wafa Shahed spoke with these organizations about their take on the fallout.
There were strong feelings on both sides of the argument, but passion was probably the only thing the two sides had in common. Khizr Khan delivered an emotional tribute to his son's sacrifice at the Democratic National Convention, saying that Donald Trump knows nothing of sacrifice. But Muslims for Trump accused Khan of politicizing his son's sacrifice.
It was upsetting. It was upsetting the way he addressed it. He looked like a politician. It looked like somebody prepared him. The way he chewed every single word and took the copy of the Constitution from his pocket. I knew it that he's being played in the hands of DNC.
Not all Republican Muslims came to the defense of Trump.
We were a little disappointed by the way he reacted and his
I don't hear my package. Khizr Khan was unable to talk to us today due to travel conflicts, but he has urged Trump not to apologize for his statements, but rather to empathize with other Gold Star families. Reporting live in Washington, I'm Wafa Shahed, Cronkite News.
In many places of the world, children grow up learning at least 2 languages in school.
And now children in Arizona increasingly have that chance. Coming up on Cronkite News, how local dual language programs are allowing students to study both English and Spanish.
Plus, in continuing coverage of the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio, we show you who is representing Team USA by carrying the flag during the opening ceremony.
We are here tonight to explore tough issues.
You've got to have people around you who aren't just laying rose petals in front of your way. And I kid you not, this is true.
Trust is everything.
This has been so much fun.
It's about reaching people.
more players on the world stage. The issues are more complex.
We ask the questions that take us closer to the truth.
What happened and what might happen.
Because that's what we do.
Would you like doing something like I do?
I couldn't do this. I'm not qualified.
I was thinking exactly the same thing.
When I was 12 years old, I was watching great performances on PBS. This program with Nureyev came on. Nureyev in a performance of Le Corsaire, and I was amazed and awestruck. I really wanted to do it. I was street dancing at the time, and I never thought of formal dance until I saw great performances. I knew that I was really a novice to dance, like high dance. I decided to check out the high school performing arts, and so one thing led to the next. Today, as a recognized dancer, I absolutely believe that when I saw the performance, it affected me tremendously. And I know that's what happens when I teach. I'm opening an option for them that they hadn't seen before.
President Obama commuted the sentences of 214 federal inmates, the most ever by a president in a single day. The White House says the inmates were incarcerated under outdated and unduly harsh sentencing guidelines. None of those being released are in Arizona. Since taking office, President Obama has commuted the sentences of 562 inmates. That's more than the previous 9 presidents combined.
U.S. Senator John McCain is responding today to the reports that the Obama administration sent $400 million to Iran at the same time 4 American hostages were released. McCain said in a statement that, quote, the Obama administration's airlift of $400 million in cash to Iran is disturbing, but hardly surprising given its long record of concessions to America's adversaries. Whatever the administration may claim, it is clear that this payment was a ransom for Americans held hostage in Iran. He added that the Iranian regime can use this money to fund militias and terrorists in Iraq and Yemen and allow them to buy advanced military capabilities to threaten the U.S. and others. The White House says that it is against the policy of the United States to pay ransom for hostages. The administration says the money was part of a long-standing claim.
Check your mail. Early ballots were sent out today for the primary election, and many early voting locations are now open. This comes on the heels of a court challenge to a new Arizona law that makes it illegal for people to pick up early ballots and deliver them to the polls. Several local and national groups say the law is intended to discourage minority voting. They have asked a federal judge to intervene. Republican state lawmakers, however, argue the law will reduce election fraud.
A member of the Arizona Corporation Commission is taking new action in an effort to regulate utility companies. Commissioner Bob Burns has hired a lawyer to conduct an inquiry into whether outside interests are influencing the commissioner's decisions. Burns has a history of looking into APS's alleged involvement in financing the campaigns of some commissioners. But Burns' office says the probe is not directed at any one company. Later tonight on Arizona Horizon, host Ted Simons talks with one commissioner, Burns, about this investigation.
A new report from the Arizona Department of Gaming says tribal casinos will contribute about $25 million to the state for the quarter that ended on June 30th. That's about a 2.9% decrease from the same quarter last year. It's the second consecutive quarter of revenue losses after 6 straight quarters of increases.
According to the Center for Applied Linguistics, students who learn through a 2-way immersion program tend to perform as well or better in academic achievement tests than their peers. Cronkite News reporter Jackie Balbuena talked to a local school representative and to parents about the programs in Arizona schools.
I talked to the Biltmore Prep Academy principal and 2 parents of kids who are in the schools here in Arizona. They all share their experiences with the programs. Maria Holmes says she put her son in the dual language immersion program since kindergarten,
where they were teaching the children
a concept only in Spanish and never taught them the concept first in English.
She says the program was not what she expected.
They really didn't have a curriculum where they had a book that said that this is the requirements, this is what the kids were going to learn.
With students returning back next week for the school year, this school is making some changes to the program.
We did invite parents on board to give input about what they felt was important about moving into more of a middle school model.
Next year, the school plans to add the program to 8th grade as well. The school will also have an incentive for students taking the classes.
This year, we're even implementing a Costa Rica trip, so we're hoping that our 6th and 7th graders will be able to experience the Spanish language in a different context.
This mom says her son also started a similar program in kindergarten at Encano Elementary School.
He has 2 different teachers each year, an English teacher and a Spanish teacher, and so yes, I know those teachers and they work very well with the students.
Michelle Catarino says she would recommend the program to anyone.
There's just lots of tests that prove that kids exceed and do even better with those skills.
Lauren says parents should do their research, figure out what type of program fits their child's needs, then choose a school that appeals to those needs. In the Broadcast Center, I'm Jackie Balbuena, Cronkite News.
The Rio Olympics are swiftly approaching, with the opening ceremonies beginning on August 5th.
And one key piece is now in Rio. Coming up on Cronkite News, the journey of the Olympic flame and why it's been more difficult than officials anticipated.
Plus, the Olympian with the all-time record for gold medals, Michael Phelps, has a big responsibility for the opening ceremony. We hear from one of our Rio reporters in Rio.
Heaven knows you're a dreamer. Don't hide it from anyone. Don't hide it from anyone. Hey, would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life. This is what counts. This is for us. I will go anywhere for you.
This is the real thing. This is where we were born.
What started in the water, stranded on the sand.
One of the amazing things about the history of life on Earth is it keeps learning new tricks.
The animals, plants, really gets in your blood.
Everything's interconnected.
We've got to begin to tell a new story, a story about interaction.
It's something that really touches my heart. There's just massive life everywhere. It's just magic.
For only the 3rd time in the award's 74-year history, a Phoenix-based news operation wins the prestigious Alfred I. DuPont Columbia Award for Excellence in Broadcast Journalism. And this year, that news operation is Cronkite News, the news division of Arizona PBS, honored for its work on the groundbreaking documentary, Hooked, Tracking Heroin's Hold on Arizona. Cronkite News at Arizona PBS, award-winning journalism you can count on from the station you trust.
The Olympic flame is now in Rio de Janeiro. It was transferred by boat and handed over to the mayor of Rio. This comes after an evening of protests forced a detour of the torch's route. The Olympic torch has traveled for more than 3 months across all corners of Brazil, visiting around 300 cities. Over the next few days, the torch will travel 56 miles throughout the city until it reaches the Maracanã Stadium for the opening ceremony.
Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps has been given the responsibility of carrying the U.S. flag during the opening ceremony. Cronkite News reporter Christina Vicario is in Rio with how this could affect Arizona State University.
I'm here outside the Olympic Park where the final preparations are being made before the games begin. The big news today is that Michael Phelps will be the USA flag bearer for the opening ceremonies. This is big news for Arizona State, where he trained under Bob Bowman, who is the ASU swim and dive coach. It'll also bring more attention to the school, where he will be a volunteer assistant following these games. Giselle Cancio will have a story out tomorrow about the sights and sounds of Rio, and we'll have a lot of more coverage for Cronkite News in the next couple of weeks. At the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, I'm Christina Vicario for Cronkite News.
Cronkite News has a team of 25 reporters on the ground in Rio to follow the Olympics. And you can watch for our comprehensive coverage online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
And can music soothe the soul?
One Valley organization thinks so. Coming up on Cronkite News, we look at how harp music is being used in hospitals to provide much needed relief for patients.
When I was 12 years old, I was watching great performances on PBS. This program with Nureyev came on. Nureyev in a performance of Le Corsaire, and I was amazed and awestruck. I really wanted to do it. I was street dancing at the time, and I never thought of formal dance until I saw great performances. I knew that I was really a novice to dance, like high dance. I decided to check out the high school performing arts. And so one thing led to the next. Today, as a recognized dancer, I absolutely believe that when I saw the performance, it affected me tremendously. And I know that's what happens when I teach. I'm opening an option for them that they hadn't seen before.
The easiest and best way to support Arizona PBS is by becoming a sustaining member. Your monthly contribution of $5 or more comes directly from your bank account or credit card, so you know your membership is always current. It also means no more renewal notices in your mailbox. So more of your dollars go to the programs you love. It's convenient for you, greener for us, and better for the planet. Become a sustaining member today.
Throughout its history, Arizona PBS and volunteers have enjoyed a rich and rewarding partnership. Whether answering phones during our pledge campaigns, stuffing envelopes, or assisting with special events, volunteering is fun and provides excellent work experience, team building for a group, and a sense of community involvement and importance. If you would like to volunteer, or if you have dropped off our mailing list, we encourage you to call the number on your screen or go online at azpbs.org/volunteer. Thank you.
When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online. Become a news source for the Arizona PBS Public Insight Network. Your ideas and insights can help us create relevant and distinctive reporting. Join now at azpbs.org/pin.
Those who have loved ones in hospitals and fighting illnesses are often bogged down by stress and grief.
Cronkite News reporter Eddie Keller gives us a look at an organization seeking to provide some relief using the sound of music.
When you're having a rough day, do you ever just put in some headphones, kick back, and try to relax? Well, the Harp Foundation in Phoenix is looking to use live harp music to bring peace to those suffering in the valley.
Well, the harp's very unique because it brings something that other instruments just can't bring because of the strings and the overtones, a certain series of notes. So the sounds out of the harp reach deep into the soul.
Jocelyn Obermeyer is a harpist for the Harp Foundation, an organization that believes the music can be therapeutic for people in need.
I hear that comment all the time. Thank you, it's so comforting, it's so peaceful, it's just what I needed right now. It's just the peace that it brings.
Kim Sterling Heflin, the executive director for the Harp Foundation, says that these reactions are especially powerful at Phoenix Children's Hospital.
It's so real when you see a child reacting to what he or she is actually thinking or feeling, and they will move to the music And we all grew up doing that.
Obermeyer says the music had an extreme impact for one family who asked her to play for their daughter who was in a coma.
She started moving her head around, and then her father came to her side and started speaking to her, and so the music can reach a place in somebody's soul that just other things can't get to.
And at Phoenix Children's Hospital, Sterling Heflin says the fruits of the music are easy to see.
And the music helps alleviate all of that anxiety and stress for everybody on the child's team. So it's very exciting being here.
The harpists at the Harp Foundation are all certified to play the harp for therapeutic and restorative purposes. The foundation began in 2000 and has been providing melodic healing for the Valley ever since. In the broadcast center, Eddie Keller, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS.
Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, Corporation Commissioner Bob Burns joins us to talk about his efforts to uncover APS political campaign financing, and we'll look at the results and recommendations of a new pediatric sleep study.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, Miles O'Brien dives in to discover what's behind a recent boom in jellyfish. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.